Okay, so for your guided practice for today for number systems, I want you to look at where it says question number 1. Make sure you've put your name on this and your number or the date. However, so it says, which graphic organizer correctly groups the numbers below? So we want to make sure that we have these numbers correct. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and see if we can decide what these numbers should be. And we know from our notes that we just took that these two negative numbers, I've got two negative numbers, -5 and -3.7, and neither of them can be a number we can count on our fingers. It's not 0. So we know that -5 is an opposite of 5, and that means that it has to be at least, according to our notes, it has to at least fall into the category of integers. And then the other one is a decimal negative, and it has to fall into the category of rational numbers. So let's go ahead and check our sheet for those two things. So we have 4.2 here, or excuse me, 5, -5 right here under integers, and that does work. And then we can find the 5 over here under whole numbers, and we know that does not work. And then the -5 is under rational numbers, which is true, and the -5 is under integers over here. Now we also have -3.7, and 3.7 we know does fall under rational here, and it does not, however, fall under the term whole number. So this one cannot be correct. And here it is under rational again. Then we can look at our next number of 8. And we know that 8, got a little easier to see. We know that 8 is a whole number. It's also a natural number, so it can go in either one, right? So let's see what we have here. Well, we don't have any that say natural, but we do have whole. So 8 falls into whole number and whole number, so we're good there. And now we have left the number of 4.2. And 4.2 is going to fall under, let's see, 4.2 is going to be, well, we can't count it as a natural or a whole. It's not an integer, but it does fall under rational. So let's see, 4.2, yes, it's under rational, and here it's under integer. So that cannot be correct, so this one is wrong. Now we can tell that for A, all of the numbers are in the right location. Now, moving on to number 2. Which set of the numbers include only positive integers? Well, first of all, let's talk about those two things. First is, what does it mean to be positive? All right, well, positive means that it's not negative. And since we know that our negatives are the opposites, then positive must be those numbers who are not negative. So positive is the opposite of negative. So we cannot have any negative numbers. So now we know it is not D and it is not A. The next thing that we have to say is that it's an integer. Okay, well, integers include everything, according to our notes, that fall opposites and 0 and opposites and 0 and all of our natural numbers. So all those numbers are definitely integers, but here's the question. Which ones are positive? Well, if they're positive, and we said that means they're not negative, what does that mean in terms of this little 0 here? Well, 0 is at the center of our number line, and it doesn't have an opposite. So it is neither negative nor positive. It's just 0, and 0 is its own number. And so this one cannot be correct because 0 is not a positive number. So therefore, C is correct. So you guys have some math practices to do on your own, and you can ask us questions if you have any. Thanks, guys.